Hey, Year Nines, we've finally arrived at the end of the road. We've found the ideas, we've posed questions to explore the issues, and now we come at last to the themes of the text. Last time we looked at issues, the questions that we ask to help us to explore the ideas of a text. Again, today we're zooming in just a little bit more, and we're going to be looking at themes. These are what we think the author's answers to these questions are. In trying to work all this out, we're going to be developing an interpretation of the text. You can think of your interpretation as the solution to a pretty simple formula. The author's message plus your understanding of the context plus your understanding as the reader equals an interpretation of the text. And when we're talking about themes, we're talking about what the author is saying about the ideas in a text and their answers to the questions we ask. We're looking at what's the author's message. For example, we might say that through The Book Thief, Zuzak shows how our words have the power to connect people, but also to divide and destroy them. His theme is his message. Words can connect, but they can also divide. And what this theme is going to really depend upon your interpretation of the text. These theme statements follow a really basic structure. They always start with the author's name at their core. We're trying to figure out what message the author is communicating, so we need to start with them. We then add a powerful verb that tells us what the author is doing with that message. Are they suggesting something, or are they presenting or depicting it? Are they communicating their message, or are they exploring it? Maybe they're advocating, or maybe they're promoting. Whatever the verb is, it's really important that it's precise and it's accurately conveying what you think the author is trying to do. The rest of the sentence always focuses on the ideas, and it should use some of the words we use when posing our questions about those ideas. Lastly, we can add some information to the sentence, and often we can put it at the start in front of a comma. So we end up with theme statements that look a little bit like these ones. In The Book Thief, Zuzak suggests the importance of words, showing readers that they have the power to harm people. Furthermore, Zuzak suggests that some of the bravest Germans were not those who fought in the war, but rather the ones that protected the innocent. Through Hans, Zuzak portrays the importance of giving hope. Or through Death's narration and the symbolism of colour, Zuzak explores how beauty exists even in the ugliest situations. When you interpret a text, you're bringing your ideas, issues, and themes together to discuss them. It's your take on the text, what you think the author is trying to say, it is your take on the text, what you think the author is trying to say, and it involves three different things interacting with each other. It involves the author, the context, and you as the reader. The author is obviously informed by the context. He creates a book, a novel, a poem, some kind of text that's situated within that context, within that time period or within that place. Once we've got a book, a reader comes along and reads it. The author writes a story communicating with that reader, and it's the reader's job to understand the message. Now, the reader hopefully has some background knowledge that helps them to understand the text. When we bring these three things together, we get an interpretation. It's the reader responding to the text by interpreting it, making sense of it, and trying to explain what they think is happening in it. Here's a short paragraph demonstrating a student's interpretation of a passage from The Book Thief. The theme statement forms the topic sentence of the paragraph, and the student uses evidence from the text to explore the idea of words and the issue of how powerful and damaging they can be. In The Book Thief, Zuzak suggests that words have the power to hurt people if they are not controlled. When she confronts Ilse Hermann about the death of her son, Liesel summons the words from the place inside her filled with her own pain to direct it at Ilse Hermann. She hurls the words at Ilse, a word choice by Zuzak that implies forcefulness and anger. Liesel tells Ilsa to get over the death of her son, which deeply wounds the woman's emotions. Readers can infer how damaging the words are from Zuzak's use of personification. Cuts had opened up, and a series of wounds were rising to the surface of her skin. In her rage, Liesel fails to recognize how destructive words can be. So when you're analyzing texts, you've got to try to interpret the author's themes, and when creating your own, you've got to fill them with the ideas for your readers to interpret in turn. So hopefully these videos have given you a deeper, more nuanced understanding of ideas, issues, and themes. When you analyze text in future, try to keep in mind how important it is to interpret the author's themes and how important it can be to use those themes and the thematic statements that we can develop as the basis for our analysis. If you're creating the texts, if you're the author, writing a short story or writing a poem, it's your job to fill them with ideas for your readers to interpret in turn.